Namaste, and welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers, from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, Consciousness, Part 23, from the Mother. Question: what are the 12 senses? Mother: we are granted 5, aren't we? In any case, there is one other which precisely has a relation with consciousness. I don't know if you have ever been told this, but a person who is blind, for instance, who does not see, can become aware of an object at some distance through a kind of perception which is not touch, for he does not feel it, which is not vision, for he does not see, but which is a contact, something that enables him to make a contact without hearing, seeing, or touching. This is one of the most developed senses apart from those we habitually use. There is another sense, a sort of sense of proximity. When one comes close to a thing, one feels it as if one had contacted it. Another sense, which is also physical, puts you in touch with events at a great distance. It is a physical sense, for it belongs to the physical world. It is not purely mental. There is a sensation. Some people have a sort of sensation of contact with what is happening at a very great distance. You must not forget that in the physical consciousness, there are several levels. There is a physical vital and a physical mind, which are not solely corporeal. Foresight on the material plane is also one of the physical senses. We have then something that sees at a short distance, something that sees at a long distance, and something that sees ahead. This already makes 3. There are a sort of improvement of the senses we have, as for instance, hearing at a great distance. There are people who can hear noises at a great distance, who can smell at a great distance. It is a kind of perfecting these sentences. Question: there are animals with very developed senses, aren't there? Mother: ah, yes. There are animals which are much more advanced than we. Disciple: I knew an elephant which led us straight to the water when we were tiger shooting. Mother: animals have much more perfect senses than those of men. I challenge you to track a man as a dog does, for instance. This means that in the curve, or rather the spiral of evolution, animals, and more so those we call higher animals, because resemble us more closely, are governed by the spirit of the species, which is a highly conscious consciousness. Bees, ants, obey this spirit of the species, which is of quite a special quality. And what is called instinct in animals is simply obedience to the spirit of the species, which always knows what ought and ought not to be done. There are so many examples, You put a cow in a meadow, it roams around, sniffs, and suddenly puts out its tongue and snatches a blade of grass. Then it wanders about again, sniffs, and gets another tuft of grass, and so it goes on. Has anyone ever known a cow, under these conditions, to eat poisonous grass? But shut this poor animal up in a cowshed, gather and put some grass before it, and the poor creature, which has lost its instinct because it now obeys man, eats the poisonous grass along with the rest of it. We have already had 3 such cases here. 3 cows which died from having eaten poisonous grass. And these unfortunate animals, like all animals, have a kind of respect, which I could call unjustifiable, for the superiority of man. If he puts poisonous grass before the cow and tells it to eat, it eats it, but left to itself, that is, without anything interfering between it and the spirit of the species, it would never do so. All animals which live close to man lose their instinct because they have a kind of admiration full of devotion for this being who can give them shelter and food without the least difficulty, and a little fear too, for they know that if they don't do what man wants, they will be beaten. It is quite strange. They lose their ability. Dogs, for instance, the sheepdog, which lives far away from men with the flocks, and has a very independent nature. It comes home from time to time and knows its master well, but often does not see him. If it is bitten by a snake, it will remain in a corner, lick itself, and do all that is necessary till it gets cured. The same dog, if it stays with you and is bitten by a snake, dies quietly like man.